One by any standards. We know when Kaizer Chiefs play against Orlando Pirates, the country literally stops to watch this match. But firstly, let's look at the new signings that both teams have made during the open window period.
Yeah, sure thing, my guy. It's bound to be like a humdinger. It's going to be an interesting game. It's pretty much an official opener of the season. Interesting signings both teams have made, both on the player side and even Kaizer Chiefs. We're talking about the coach as well. Kaizer Chiefs, we're talking about Sienta Kulu, we're talking about Cardozo, we're talking about Godinho. It will be interesting, as to how these new players they gel in to the squad, because you come into a Kaizer Chiefs team that's won the PSL title last season. They pretty much have a formidable side, that is in structure, that is on point at the moment. But again, I think they buy in players and bringing them in, for a reason. They know why they're bringing them in. You look at on the other side, the rivals, Orlando Pirates. They've brought in a couple of players, and the interesting part is, of the players that they brought in, they also have like two strikers, then Daindoro, among others, and you also have Mwapu Musonda. The interesting part about Orlando Pirates is they've never been known to be good in the striking force. They've always been powerful,
in the middle of the field. But firstly, let's talk about Kaizer Chiefs, because you spoke about a number of defenders there, which are now going to be part of this team going forward. Look, you have a new coach who's also participating in this derby for the first time. You have a number of players also that will be taking part in this match for the first time. Let's talk the nerves here, Tshepo. How much do you think that will have the mental edge of the players going into this big one?
Well, for them, I think personally they know this is a test for them. They know this is the first and the most important chance for them to break into the starting lineup of the team. And like I said, this is the formidable team that they found in place. Now they have to work hard, extra hard for them to win themselves a place. It's not only in the team, but it's also with the Kaizer Chiefs faithfuls. Number two, Steve Kompele comes in, he's new as the coach. But the downside about it is the fact that you have like hired coaches for this kind of game. Now, if the formula is still the same, the first 45 is still going to be to the visiting coach, which means Kompela will have to take up in the second one. But personally, I think he would have loved, to steer the team forward, starting from the first whistle until the last one.
But look, he got his chance of doing that when they were playing out at the Kings Cup in Swaziland.
But this is
and
different.
The Kaizer Chiefs we saw there, I don't know Look, should we expect anything different from what both teams actually displayed out in Swaziland a week or two ago?
Sure, you should. This is a derby. This is a Soweto derby, and like both coaches have said, there is no derby that is a friendly. Any coach from each of the sides, they're looking to win.
Derby is home, man.
They want to win.
Yeah.
So there's no way that you won't see a different game. You'll see, players are revved up. You'll see the spectators are there. F&B will be filled up. So.
Now, Brilliant Khuzwayo, yesterday we got the news that, he injured his two fingers and all of that. Of course, a young Arian was now put in there to replace him. So are we likely going to see Kune on the bench?
From what I've heard, this Peters is going to be in the starting lineup.
Starting lineup, yes.
It's sad for Khuzwayo, because he's been saying people are criticizing him and everything, and he was looking forward to proving them wrong. He won't be in the starting lineup. And from what you've heard, Kune will be in the starting lineup for their first MTN 8 game, which is next week. So it's a bit of for Khuzwayo, unfortunately, but we'll see as the season goes. Another thing. On Pirates side, you also have.
Firstly, let's talk Kaizer Chiefs while we're at it. Right. Look, Itumeleng Khune was on everyone's lips throughout almost the entire open window, and finally he makes it back to Kaizer Chiefs. But on social media, some of the Kaizer Chiefs faithfuls were saying, "Look, Khune put money before the team. Why allow him back into the team? Because look, we're actually good enough without him as part of the team, because the remainder of the last season he was not playing due to injuries and other politics between him and the coaching staff and all of that." So do you think that was fair criticism?
Well, people have the right to their own opinions, but it's not only social media that I wanted to highlight that. Every single corner, people are talking about the Kune saga. Between Kaizer Chiefs. Kaizer Chiefs made a spectacle out of Kune leaving the team. They had the presser. We know where they spoke big about it. Kune, apparently has been making demands that are really unaffordable. But bottom line is, at the moment they managed to sit down and they welcome him back. But to say whether it's a good decision for the team and for the player is another thing. are they setting a precedence to say, you know, if players walk out of the team, they can come back and beg for their jobs, they'll get them back. But what does it say about the other mold of players?
Yeah, because there's Mandla Masango, who's
Exactly.
still now in talks with Kaizer Chiefs.
Yeah.
So do you see him making it back to Amakosi?
Well, that's a possibility, but it's also about whether does he wants to or not. And again, it's also a question of will they agree on terms. But then again, we need to also go back and talk about, you know, precedents that you're setting. You know, you need to see the impact of the decision that you're making.
So in your view, this is not a good precedent?
It could be, it's a 50-50. It's a catch-22. It
Okay.
could be good, it could be bad.
You're not putting your head on the block on this one?
Not at the moment.
Of course. Now let's talk about the exciting young player, Thabo Rakgale of Orlando Pirates. Sensational, beautiful to watch.
Yeah. I touched a bit earlier about Pirates having been good and strong in the middle. But Rakgale, I think he's one prospect to watch out for the season going forward. And it's not only him. There's also Masuku. Remember, there's a Masuku that's gone and there's a Masuku
that's just now.
Yeah. So it's going to be an interesting one. You know, you have a Rakgale, you know, he's on fire. He's setting Africa, alight. And then, like I said, there's Masuku. But for me, you know, this is a season where you should be seeing players like you know, coming into the fold and, you know, shining and showing his true potential. Again, there's
because
a player,
he kind of faded out sometime last season. We didn't really get to see the Mieni that we know.
Yeah, and you also have a player like Makola. You know, those are the players that if, you know, given enough game time, you know, they could steal a game at any given moment on any given day. So it's going to be an exciting season ahead for Orlando Pirates. Another thing that we spoke that we need to highlight is the fact that Eric Tinkler, you know, he's been appointed as like head coach. So
it's good to see these coaches actually from Pirates and Chiefs, because they are also former Bafana players. They played together. They were in the 1996 team.
Exactly.
So, well, I guess they know each other very well. But also now let's talk about the issue of game time. Pirates never got a chance to relax during the off season because of course, they were committed in their continental duties, doing quite well at that. And now Kaizer Chiefs, on the other hand, we didn't really get to see that much, except that match in Swaziland.
Exactly.
The impact of these two dynamics that it's going to have on the game itself, what do you think will likely happen there?
Yeah, a lot of people have been saying your Pirates players, they might come in fatigued, just merely for the fact that, you know, they've never really had, you know, like rest time. And they've never really had a pre-season. You know, it's been full on for them, like throughout, ever since the end of the PSL season last season. But for me, that could act as a benefit to them. That could be an advantage for them because, you know, they've been full force. And you have a Kaizer Chiefs team that's boasting new players, that's boasting, you know, they just played in, you know, that's minor pre-season games. Now, what's happening on the Kaizer Chiefs side is you have players who are still trying to find their feet. You go to a Pirates side, they're formidable, you know, like full steam. So it could add to the advantage today. They could win the game because they're still not trying to find those combinations. They know what to do. Yeah.
Now let's talk about Orlando Pirates. I mean, actually, let's even talk about Kaizer Chiefs defense, or both teams. You look at the back line of Orlando Pirates. It seems a bit solid, despite the fact that everyone was actually judging the goalkeeper, saying, look, since Senzo's passing, Pirates were not doing that well, more especially in the goalkeeping department. But in this case, Kaizer Chiefs seems to find themselves in the very same predicament.
Exactly. And there's going to be another interesting thing. You know, Kaizer Chiefs, they had a goalkeeper who was supposed to be in the starting lineup. He gets injured a day before the game. You have from the Pirates, they have Mhlongo, who's always been there, but he's been a little bit shaky.
But I would stand to disagree. Mhlongo was good out in the when they were doing continental duties. I thought he did well. Even their goalkeeper coach, William Opara, was praising the young man, saying a fella seems to be finding his ground now.
Maybe he's coming to the party at the moment, and let's hope today is going to be that day where he gets tested and he gets to prove it that he deserves the #1 jersey. But that being said, you spoke about the Pirates' defense. Yes, it is solid. The downside for them today could be the fact that Mataba is not going to be there. He's also out injured. But another thing for the Pirates up front, Kemit Rasmus is out. Thamsanqa Gabuza comes in, which could be a plus for Thamsanqa because you remember he's on fire in Africa, but he hasn't been really good in the PSL.
But now let's also talk about the defense of Kaizer Chiefs, because remember they're bringing in Sianda Kulu, brilliant player. But as to how it's going to gel with a new keeper that really hasn't been in action that much for Kaizer Chiefs, this could also spell disaster for the Amakosi faithfuls at the line last of defense.
I know. And the other interesting thing is the fact that Are we going to be seeing Kaizer Chiefs, tampering a lot with their defense? Sianda Kulu. There's others as well. There's Cardoso. It's about to be a question as to whether would they throw, one or two changes into the starting lineup and see, go for a trial and error method as opposed to an opponent that knows, what to do. So you cannot be playing gambles with, in a game like Orlando Pirates because there's also bragging rights involved.
Now let's talk about where the game is won in the middle of the park.
Yeah.
Of course, Pagania boost of the likes of Opa Ace Manyesa. On the other side, you have Yele Tsulenyan, who's actually aging. I mean, if you look at his performance even last season, even for him to ended up being dropped from Bafana, you could tell that age is catching up with him.
Yeah.
So what do you think will happen in that middle of the park?
For me, I'll start with Kaizer Chiefs. For me, Yeye, he's still very good. He's still solid. He can still win the game for you. He's still the tried and tested player that you need in the middle of the park to influence the younger players that are coming through. But there's also a concern on the Kaizer Chiefs side. The fact that they've given Tshepo Tsheole the captain's armband. For me, Tshepo, his game hasn't really been up to scratch up to so far. He's like, going down.
Could be a booster for you.
Maybe, but it could also mean you're having a captain who, every second game he gets substituted or he doesn't make the starting lineup because of performance. Pirate side, you have Opa Manyesa. Very solid all the time.
Tshepo, we've run out of time, but just put your head on the block. Chiefs or Pirates, who's taking this?
They've played 4 callings. Pirates has won 3, Chiefs has won 1. Pirates.
Pirates is taking it.
There you go.
Thanks a lot for throwing through.
Not a problem, okay.
That was SABC digital sports producer Tshepo Tsheole, of course, unpacking what should be expected in this coming game between Kaizer Chiefs and Orlando Pirates. Stay with us. AM News is coming back at the top of the hour.